Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So I'm going to be doing a series, or I should say I'm going to be doing like a deep dive into the Courtney Clenney case. So I have the discovery with a bunch of the files, videos, documents. So we are going to really dig into this case. So the trial has not happened yet. The trial should be coming soon, actually. I'm not sure the date of the trial yet. I'll get back to you on that. So those of you that aren't familiar with the Courtney Clenney case, I'm going to read the probable cause affidavit, but just a quick summary. It's the case with the OnlyFans model, Courtney Clenney. She stabbed her boyfriend, Christian Obinselli, in like the shoulder arm area. And she said it was in self-defense. Originally, they let her go. And then when the autopsy report came back, they realized, the coroner said there's no way that the way she said that it happened, like, for instance, she said she kind of like just threw the knife at him. They're like, no, that knife was jabbed in him at an angle and it was like pushed. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't go along with her story. So yeah, there's a bunch of different videos and files. And so like, as I'm reading this document that I'm reading in this video, I might show some clips and show some things that kind of go along with what I'm reading, but I will upload those also separately, like the videos and files, so you'll be able to see the entire videos or whatever it is that I'm showing in this video, if that makes sense. So yeah, so first of all, I want to start out by reading the probable cause affidavit. Actually, I'm going to read this document that is called State of Florida's Motion for Pretrial Detention in Omnibus Memorandum Detention in Arthur Hearing. So what it is, it's this document for a motion for a pretrial detention, which is when someone is detained by the state while they are waiting for a trial to determine whether they are innocent or guilty of a crime. Pretrial detention restricts the right to the presumption of innocence and the right to liberty. So basically, they want to detain her until the trial. So they explain in this why they don't believe that she should be out on bond, because some of the risk factors and prior occurrences with her and stuff like that. So this document I'm going to read is the state's motion, and it goes through the whole incident. Basically, it's going to explain everything that the probable cause would have in it, but a little bit extra. So I decided to read this instead because it has a little bit more to it. I'm going to skip a few parts. I'm going to skip the preliminary statement. I'm going to read a little bit of part 2. It's the law. It says, a defendant being denied bail because she is charged with a punishable by life offense may continue to be held without bail if the state establishes the proof of guilt is evident or presumption is great. And then it kind of goes on and lists some other laws, but we're going to skip through. So we're going to skip through to the third section. It's Phase 1, Facts and Argument. Christian Obinselli was killed by a stabbing to the subclavian artery inflicted by the defendant on April 3rd, 2022. This fact is beyond dispute and was otherwise admitted by the defendant in her Mirandized statement.
At that point, I was sitting there and I said, I grabbed the knife, which...
Did he ever get the phone out of your hands, or...?
No.
No?
No. He just came over to me and was trying to get it, and then we went into the kitchen and grabbed the knife. I do not think that this was... I don't know. I really don't know if this is justified at all. I actually don't know.
Well, that's what
I really don't know, because I know I was scared, but I really don't know.
So you grabbed the knife?
Because I grabbed a knife. I grabbed a knife, and I said, like, pretty much just, like, don't get any closer to me. And then, came with me, said something, came with me. And then I just, like, threw it. And I really
How exactly did you throw it? Did you just throw like that?
How many times?
No, how exactly did you throw it? Like, you threw it like this, or kind of like flung it at him, overhead, or how did that?
Oh, I just flung it.
You just flung it over your head, or from
like this.
Okay. So from like beside your head.
Holding it, yeah. So not like, okay, like I'm holding it like this. This is not the knife, the
blade to it?
Right, the blade.
Okay.
I for dang sure did not stab him. That would be insane. I mean, I didn't even think that this would touch him. But, I mean, I thought that I would scare him by just grabbing it. I thought I would scare him by just grabbing it, but that didn't work. So, anyway, comes at me, and then I just flung it.
Okay.
And I was kind of just trying to fling it past
When
him.
you threw it, when you flung it, how close was he at that time?
I mean, I said 10 feet, but if this is 10 feet, it was definitely more than 10 feet.
Okay.
And I mean, if somebody goes into my apartment, they can see how far it was.
Yeah.
But I did not want it to actually injure him.
Mm-hmm.
That
And what
might
did
be
he
okay,
do?
but
What
this
did
kind of thing.
What did he do after you flung the knife at him? Did he walk around, or did he fall right then and there, or what happened?
He fell down.
He fell down?
Yeah.
Christian's murder was the unfortunate punctuation in a tempestuous and increasingly violent relationship with the defendant. Based on physical evidence, forensic extraction of Christian's phone, injuries, and lack of defensive injuries, and third-party records, collectively the evidence show the defendant unlawfully killed Christian by stabbing him in the subclavian artery, an act imminently dangerous to Christian and demonstrating a deprived mind. Nature of relationship and lead up to homicide. The evidence revealed the defendant became increasingly violent towards Christian with various documented and undocumented incidents of violence, including her use of weapons. Similar fact evidence shows that on July 27, 2021, the defendant was arrested for committing a domestic battery on Christian in Las Vegas, Nevada. During that altercation, the defendant admitted to throwing glass at Christian as he laid on the couch. The defendant additionally provided she likes to throw things and has previously thrown items at Christian, including plates and glass. The defendant further admitted Christian did not commit any violence towards her. This episode similarly repeated itself from October 8th to 11th, 2021, when the defendant battered Christian with a phone, spit on him, and stabbed him in the leg as documented in the text messages between the defendant and Christian. This pattern of violence repeated itself in Miami, beginning in January 2022, boiling over several times. Of pertinence, here includes a January 30th, 2022 slicing of Christian's lip by the defendant, requiring he receive stitches. Immediately following the incident, the defendant coldly told Christian to enjoy the hospital. In response, Christian sought to protect the defendant rather than report her domestic violence. The incidents of violence continued throughout February, as documented by Christian in his messages to the defendant, as well as one Paraíso, and that's the complex that they lived in. As documented by Christian in his messages to the defendant, as well as one Paraíso surveillance footage on February 21st, 2022. During their relationship, there came a point that Christian began doing two things. One, documenting and confronting the defendant's violence through writing, and two, recording the defendant's outbursts and acts of violence. These acts alone suggest a recognition by Christian that the defendant was becoming increasingly dangerous to his safety, and he had to protect himself. For example, Christian expressed to the defendant a fear. Is love going to kill me? Christian documented his lip being sliced, stabbed multiple times, and repeated incidents of physical abuse at the hands of the defendant. Other documentation captures what appear to be significant homicidal ideations of the defendant towards Christian a month before the murder. On March 5th, 2022, after the defendant apparently battered Christian, he began recording the defendant as he asked for help. The defendant refuses to help Christian and says, "The cops are going to take me to jail. That's cool. I don't care, Christian. I don't care about you." The defendant continues, blaming Christian for her violence, and says, "I'm actually freaking not having a good day, where I actually, literally, freaking want to kill you, but you don't take me seriously," evidencing the defendant's ill will, hatred, spite, and evil intent towards Christian.
When it is 5 a.m. and I had
Decide whether or not you're done gaslighting me.
to let you have a great
Decide whether or not you're done
I
gaslighting
am
me.
mad that You told me to come.
Decide right now.
Courtney, that's a fucking threat. I asked you so many times that I don't know, and I apologize. But you hit me.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. Don't fucking say that.
Courtney, I need your help, please. Courtney, I know you care about my head right now.
Nope, the cops are gonna take me to jail.
Then
that's cool. I don't care, Christian.
I'm not
I don't care about you.
Just stop it.
I'm whack, right?
I'm just mad, and I don't say that. Just stop it.
Okay,
stop
cool.
It. Hey.
Christian, okay. I honestly, like, I know that, like, fucking, like, shit on your head is serious. I told you to leave downstairs. I told you I'm actually fucking not having a good day, where I actually literally fucking want to kill you. But you don't take me seriously.
Okay.
And you were gaslighting me for a fucking hour and a half, so I don't honestly feel fucking bad.
Okay, hug me back, okay? That's what I need right now.
Okay? I really don't feel anything. Like, I don't want, I really, like, I don't feel like moving. Like, I fucking, like, really don't want to, I don't want to move.
Okay.
You need to go.
Courtney.
You
Yes, I know you're saying that.
So another recorded fight. So this is March 23rd, 2022. 18 days after the last recording we just listened to.
I need to leave my phone. I need to go home. I need to talk to them. I need my phone.
Cece,
Don't touch me!
What is going on? Like, what are you gonna get this mad at me when I'm apologizing to you?
No, Christian.
Like, you're thinking I'm doing it on
Drop your attitude. Drop your high pitch.
Okay, I'm not doing it on purpose.
You touched the alright. You know damn well the right thing to do is to tell me.
Yes, and I am so sorry.
So shut up and let me fucking slap you, dumbass.
No, you're not gonna slap me.
Give me my phone.
You have your phone.
I don't have it anymore.
Find
it and fucking charge it.
What?
Find it and charge it!
I'm sorry, Courtney.
I don't care. Find it and charge it.
Okay, just stop.
Don't talk to me.
Man.
Yeah, man. Oh, man.
Because I'm telling you I'm sorry.
It's like hard. Find my fucking phone and charge it.
I don't know where your phone is.
Find it.
Can you help me find it?
I won!
So why?
Find it!
Why are you screaming, man? Not man, but why?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, little bitch.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, man.
What? Like,
Yeah, 'cause I'm a little man, huh, bitch? Shut the fuck up. I need to find it because I have to go meet her again.
So to go out?
No!
You said she invited you
Christian,
out.
just find my goddamn phone.
I don't have your phone. Can you
Just find my fucking phone.
Cece, can you just please?
Shut up!
Just please.
Shut up! You went to go fucking talk to her without talking.
I didn't go.
Yes, you did. You always want to fucking you fucking asshole.
Courtney, I was
He
on.
literally told me about it, and now he's like, damn.
What are you
You
talking?
are son.
I didn't go to talk to
You are
Aura.
not gonna-
I was going on a bike ride. Like, what the
Get off of me!
fuck? Me going to talk to Aura? Is this gonna make you act like this? The
You
fuck?
literally talked to her without telling me.
Courtney, I was on a bike ride and she passed me and I said hi. You and Courtney are having a live chat. My bad, I forgot to tell you that. That doesn't make you to act and call me a fucking fuck.
You're a n***.
Yes, thank you. Coming from Courtney, thank you.
I want you to get away from me. Get away from me.
Damn. Oh. Oh, my bad. I said, hey, what's up? I'm going on a bike ride, and I forgot to tell you that I ran into somebody. Is that gonna make you act like this? Fucking crazy bitch. Okay, I am. Courtney, what do you think I'm doing right now? Okay?
Not shit.
Okay. Alright. Casey, I'm sorry, okay? Just let me apologize. No! Okay, you don't need to.
Go find my phone! Go find my phone!
Casey, come on.
Go find my phone!
God, you're fucking crazy, bro. Do you remember the last place you had it, CC? You remember the last place you had it?
Nope. Find it.
Okay.
Date of homicide. Evidence shows that Sunday, April 3rd, 2022, began peacefully, with the defendant and Christian playing with their dogs in the apartment. The defendant was dancing and Christian was singing. At some point, Christian left their apartment and returned with Subway sandwiches for himself and the defendant. Key fob records showed Christian left the apartment at 1:15 p.m. and returned at 4:32 p.m. Surveillance video shows Christian returning to the apartment at that time via service elevator 1 with their 2 dogs and leaving the elevator at 4:33 p.m. At the same time, the defendant, while in the apartment, finished and uploaded an Instagram live video to her page. Call detail records show the defendant called Christian at 4:01 p.m., just before she went live on Instagram, and again at 4:33 p.m., shortly after posting the live video and his arrival into the apartment. Phone records and a recorded statement from the defendant's mother, Deborah Clenney, hereinafter defendant's mother, via a recorded telephone call with the police, helped determine a time frame for when the stabbing occurred. In that recorded call, defendant's mother confirmed she was on the phone with the defendant via 2 phone calls that started at 4:43 p.m. and continued until 4:56 p.m.
Let's see, it looks like she called me at first at 3:43, and we talked till about 2 different phone calls, talked till about 3:56. That's what it looks like, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. And what was she telling you when she called you?
She was telling me that he was not leaving, that she kept, I heard her saying, "You lied, just get out, just go away." I'd actually been out there for 6 days trying to get rid of him.
What was it that she said that you lied? What?
She was saying you're lying.
Uh-huh.
And he was saying, "I'm not lying," but I really don't know what the whole thing was about. I didn't know he was there. I thought he was gone. I had been there for 6 days. When I got there, he left, but he didn't actually leave. He kept hanging around the apartments. Evidently somebody in the apartment complex was letting him hang around, take showers downstairs, sleep in the cabanas. I told him to go. And he was supposed to go get a hotel or something, and he said he was going to get a hotel, but apparently he did not. He just hung around that whole 6 days. I guess he was waiting for me to leave so he could come back.
Defendant's mother further confirmed she was on the phone with the defendant at the time of the incident. Thus, the stabbing must have occurred between 4:43 p.m., less than 10 minutes after Christian returned to the apartment, and 4:57 p.m. when the defendant called 911. The defendant's call detail record shows the aforementioned calls, reflecting the defendant called defendant's mother at 4:43 p.m. for a call that lasted just over 6 minutes until 4:49 p.m., and a second call at 4:49 p.m. for a little over 7 minutes until 4:56 p.m. Accordingly, the evidence establishes that the stabbing must have occurred in the intervening 13 minutes. At the same time that the defendant called defendant's mother, her neighbors began calling one Perieso to report a disturbance at the apartment. One Perieso security called 911 at 4:46 p.m., notifying them of the disturbance. 11 minutes later, at 4:57 p.m., the defendant called 911 to inform the police Christian was suffering from a stab wound and requesting help. On that call, Christian can be heard in the background repeatedly saying he is dying and cannot feel his arm. The defendant is also heard saying, "I'm so sorry, baby."
One operator down. What is the address of your emergency?
I'm gonna die.
Hey, man, please.
3101. It's 130, so 130.
I'm gonna die.
Ma'am, listen to me. You need to stop screaming on the line and give me the address.
3101.
I'm gonna die. I can't feel my arm.
3101.
I can't feel my arm.
Ma'am,
so my boyfriend is dying of a stab.
Ma'am, what is the address?
What's the address?
3131.
3131 Northeast 7th Ave. Please, God, please, come save my boyfriend.
Ma'am, is this a house apartment or a business?
I want you to 745-3582.
Is this a house apartment or a business?
Baby, I'm so sorry. Baby.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
If you have a stab wound to his shoulder, can you sit down?
What do you mean he has a stab wound on his shoulder, ma'am?
Yes, he's bleeding from his shoulder.
Rescue, this is PD physician Juliet. The caller, ma'am, hold on one moment. The caller advised the address is 3131 Northeast 7th Avenue, 31 Northeast 7th Avenue. The phone number is verified. The caller advised that her boyfriend has a stab wound.
Okay, is this a house, apartment, or a business?
Stop. Listen, please, God, please, stop. Please, God,
Listen, ma'am. Listen, I'm sending help. I need you to tell me exactly what happened. I'm sending help. How old is he? Ma'am, how old is he? Is he awake? Hello? Hello? PD, are you still on the line?
Yes, she's still on the line. She didn't provide a room number or anything.
No. Did she tell you where he was stabbed at?
She said he was stabbed on his shoulder.
Okay. Do you know if there's more than one wound?
No, she didn't say. She just kept screaming on the line saying that he was dying, that he needed help, and she kept apologizing. But we do have a call at that same address in reference to a fight that happened. The room number could possibly be 2201, because we already have a call that 2 people are fighting inside of that room. So they're possibly related.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and give her a call back, but we do have rescue on the way, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And is PD responding on the 3?
Yes, we're responding on the 3.
Alrighty, thank you.
You're welcome.
In her telephone recorded statement to the police on the date of the incident, the defendant's mother stated she heard the defendant yelling at Christian to leave the apartment and the defendant saying Christian was lying. In her explanation to the police regarding the content of the phone calls of that day, the defendant's mother did not say whether she discussed the stabbing with the defendant. However, investigators know the defendant's mother did communicate with the defendant about the stabbing because investigators saw a text message from mom in plain view of the defendant's phone that was sent at 5:25 p.m. The message said, "It is very important, even though it was self-defense, you cannot say anything without an attorney. Innocent people get in trouble all the time." In addition to omitting her conversations with the defendant's mother's recorded statement also omits any claims that the defendant said she was being attacked by Christian during the call. Crime scene. The condominium is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom unit with a private foyer. While each bedroom has a bathroom, according to the floor plan, the master bedroom is the largest bedroom that has access to a terrace shared with the living room and faces east overlooking Biscayne Bay. The other 2 bedrooms face south, with one other bedroom having its own terrace that faces west. Pertinent here is the master bedroom and the bedroom with the westwardly facing terrace, herein referred to as guest bedroom. The crime scene photographs show droplets of blood by the kitchen island dripping to the master bedroom bathroom and back into the living room. In the living room, by the couch, a bloody knife along with a bloody bedsheet was located. There was additionally a blood trail leading from the living room to the guest bedroom. At the entrance of the guest bedroom, there was a puddle of coagulated blood and blood transfer on the wall, evidencing Christian collapsed in this room before attempting to return towards the front door. Upon police arrival, Christian was in the defendant's arms at the intersection of the 2 guest bedrooms in another puddle of coagulated blood. The amount of blood throughout the condominium at different levels, including 2 large pools, shows Christian was bleeding for an extended period of time prior to police arrival. The bloody knife, in the similar style and design as the knives on the kitchen counter, was found on the living room floor next to the couch and bloody bedsheet. Defendant's self-serving statement and admissions. The defendant admitted to having caused Christian's injuries in her Mirandized recorded statement. In the statement, the defendant also provided several self-serving and inconsistent accounts about the incident. The defendant claimed she armed herself with a knife in response to Christian having shoved her against the wall by the neck, though not choking her, and then she claimed he threw her to the ground but allowed her to get up. The defendant's physical body was documented on the date of the incident, and there were no injuries to her person to corroborate this account. The defendant, being fair-skinned, had numerous older bruises throughout her arms and body that were documented before Christian's killing via the defendant's Instagram live video or videos from earlier in the day. Similarly, the defendant was missing nails, but as she explained in her Instagram live video, were coming off before Christian's killing. The defendant can also be seen in her video recorded statement picking at, biting, and discarding her nails before, during, and after her interview. At no time did the defendant claim Christian was armed with any type of weapon. In describing the stabbing, the defendant claimed she threw the knife at Christian from a distance in excess of 10 feet. Based on the location and depth of the stab wound, The medical examiner opined that throwing the knife from that distance would not have caused that fatal stab wound. In an apparent crisis of consciousness, the defendant stated, "I do not think that this was, I really don't know if this was justified at all."
I don't know. I really don't know if this is justified at all. I actually don't know.
Phase 2, Facts and Argument. The defendant's increasingly violent and unstable conduct, in addition to the defendant's lack of ties to the community, flight from the jurisdiction, and significant financial means, established the defendant as undeserving of this court's discretion for release. The equities significantly weigh against the defendant because proof of her guilt is evident and the presumption great, thusly establishing the lesser standard of substantial likelihood the defendant committed the murder of Christian Obinselli. And there are no conditions of release that can ensure her presence in the future because she lacks ties to the community, immediately fled the jurisdiction following Christian's murder, has a history of violating conditions of release and absconding from courts, has incentive and financial means to flee, evidenced by several large wire transfers following Christian's murder, and has the means of sustaining herself abroad. The defendant is a danger to the community because there is a substantial probability the defendant committed a homicide. As discussed significantly above in Part 3, A through D, the defendant's guilt in the present case is overwhelming. The evidence shows the defendant was engaged in months-long, escalating practice of a domestic violence, particularly with the use of weapons against Christian. The defendant's escalating and unchecked violence while using weapons, stabbing, and cutting Christian on multiple occasions, along with her homicidal ideations, culminated in her killing Christian on April 3, 2022. Finally, in an apparent crisis of conscience, the defendant even acknowledged in her inconsistent, self-serving statement that she did not know whether her actions were justified at all. In its totality, therefore, there is a substantial probability the defendant committed a homicide for purposes of this court ordering pretrial detention. The defendant lacks ties to the community and immediately fled the jurisdiction following Christian's murder. The defendant is a Texas native with various criminal priors in Texas, California, and Nevada, the latter of which was an incident of violence where she attacked Christian. The defendant recently absconded from a 2020 criminal case currently pending in Texas for which she has an outstanding warrant. Notably, the defendant failed to appear in the pending Texas matter despite her familial ties to Texas. Further aggravating the defendant's failure to appear is that the warrant on July 2022, while she was on notice that she was under investigation for the present case. The defendant's history of failing to appear in court is further exacerbated by the fact that the defendant does not have any ties to Miami-Dade County or Florida. The defendant lived in Miami for only 4 months, moving to the jurisdiction with Christian beginning in January of 2022. Upon Christian's murder, the defendant effectively fled the jurisdiction within a month, despite knowing of the instant murder investigation. The defendant has a history of violating pretrial conditions and absconding. Aside from the defendant's lack of ties to the community and flight from the jurisdiction, the defendant exhibits a complete inability to abide by conditions of pretrial release. While the defendant's first DUI was pending, arrest date of February 13, 2015, the defendant fled the Texas jurisdiction to California, where she was arrested on July 22, 2015 for disorderly conduct by drug or alcohol intoxication and possession of unlawful paraphernalia. Similarly, she was arrested for her open and pending second Texas DUI, arrest date September 16, 2020. The defendant again fled the Texas jurisdiction to Las Vegas, Nevada, where she was arrested for domestic battery on Christian on July 27, 2021, and then to Miami in January 2022. This is in addition to significant other travel, such as to Colorado in February 2022 and Tulum, Mexico in March 2022. The defendant has shown herself incapable of comporting to the requirements of law or respect for judicial orders that would justify any form of release. The defendant made several large sum wire transfers following Christian's murder in an apparent effort to relocate and conceal assets, has the financial means and incentive to flee, and has the means to financially sustain herself abroad. The defendant furthermore has the means of making quick escape and financially sustaining herself abroad. The defendant self-reported an income of $800,000 when she applied for her Miami apartment. The income is apparently derived from her role as a social media influencer and OnlyFans provider, a profession she can maintain abroad if she flees the country, an act she can certainly afford financially. From OnlyFans alone, the defendant made $966,692 in 2020 and $1,806,003 in 2021 from both her Courtney Taylor Free and Courtney Taylor VIP accounts. The defendant additionally made $327,221 between January 1st, 2022 and August 11th, 2022. $40,981 of which was made after the defendant killed Christian from both accounts. These totals do not consider any additional unknown sources of income from other influence or advertisement campaigns via other social media platforms. Furthermore, 9 days after the defendant murdered Christian, she made 2 separate wire transfers to her father, Kim Clenney, totaling $1,134,000. One wire transfer was $121,000 and another was $1,013,000. The defendant made another large wire transfer to her father exactly 1 month after Christian's murder in the amount of $50,000, effectively depleting her known Bank of America accounts. Given the suspicious timing, nature, and sums of the transactions, the only possible inference from the defendant's behavior is obvious: an attempt to relocate and conceal her assets, conduct consistent with an individual attempting and otherwise preparing to frustrate justice and avoid criminal prosecution. Under the totality of the circumstances, there are no conditions that the court could impose that would ensure her presence in the future. The defendant's history reflects a blatant disregard for court orders and an incentive to flee prosecution of this case. Anticipating possible defense arguments that she could be placed on a monitor and surrender her passport, the state submits the defendant has the means to charter a private flight with short notice and to flee to any number of jurisdictions that do not extradite to the United States. The defendant could do so on a short notice by her own means or through her family. Additionally, while the court can require the defendant to surrender her passport and passport card, the court and the state are powerless to prevent the federal government from issuing a replacement passport, a process the defendant has demonstrable means and knowledge of the process. Finally, the defendant's means of financially sustaining herself requires a mere internet connection. OnlyFans as an entity is a foreign business that is not subject to the jurisdictional reach of this court, the state of Florida, and the United States. Therefore, this court, the state, and the federal government are powerless to prevent these actions. In sum, the defendant's lack of ties to the community together with the significant risk, incentive, and means to flee are simply too great and requires this court continue to deny bond and to order detention pending trial. Conclusion. Christian was killed by a stabbing to the subclavian artery by the defendant on April 3, 2022. Christian's murder was the result of months-long escalating abuse by the defendant, where the nature of the relationship is clear. The defendant would physically abuse Christian, stabbing and cutting him on various occasions, in addition to, on at least one occasion, expressing homicidal ideation. The defendant's best self-serving description of the murder was littered with inconsistencies and an apparent crisis of conscience, where she even admitted she did not believe the murder was justified. Finally, the defendant has no ties to Miami or Florida as a whole, has a history of violating pretrial release and absconding, has made several large sum wire transfers, in an apparent effort to relocate and conceal assets, and has the means to flee as well as sustaining herself abroad. Thus, she should be denied bail and her detention ordered because no conditions of release will protect the community from the defendant and ensure her presence in the future. Respectfully submitted, Catherine Fernandez Rundle, State Attorney. Okay, so that's kind of the story here. Like I said, I'm going to upload all like the videos and everything I have separately too. So like if you, for instance, want to see a specific video, like a body cam video or, her live video she did right before that or whatever it may be, I'll upload those in their entirety. So if you wanted to just like watch those are coming too. Also, there's a couple instances that happened when she was 17 that I'll read through. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to go through. So it's definitely going to be a deep dive into this case. I think I'm going to end this one and yeah, just be looking for the next one. Like I said, it's going to be a series of videos. I'm not sure how many it'll end up being, but just be looking for them if you're following this case. All right, bye guys.
I know that kindness is the answer we're all searching for. Really, 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 really need your love. Really,